Good morning, Dark. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, fellow YouTubers. Hello to everybody else. And hello to my doggy who's asleep behind me. Right, hopefully you can hear me okay. Hopefully this will go well. Right, here we are in Gatwick. Plan today is Gatwick, Rome.
Good morning, Dark.
I've got to go at work. Let's turn that off. Just turn the volume down on YouTube so I don't hear myself 2 seconds later. Yeah, so plan today is going to Gatwick down to Rome. Nice weather, so should be nice easy flights. New SSD is in the computer, so hopefully it will be a bit more stable. But as my very own MOC Dark will probably attest, I think I need some new RAM as well, potentially, even though he was the one to suggest to get me the RAM that I've got as it is. But yeah, possibly might need new RAM. So anyway, there we go. So pretty much all set up. We're all ready to go. Time we're due out of here, I think, is 1:15. So have a quick look. We are loading as well, obviously. 16 minutes, 1:15. Yeah. So probably not going to quite get out of here on time, but that's okay. We'll give it a go. We'll do our best. Why is that on? Oh, these buttons are in the wrong place again. That's all done. Good, 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 good. So I think we're pretty much ready to go. Just need to check the load sheets, do the performance. Not sure why this is dotted. Why have we got a dotted green line? That should be solid by now. But again, no. Not sure. It might get sorted in a minute. So yeah, we'll give it a go and try and get going. So I think all the settings are pretty much the same. So I've still got the settings that I had before, because obviously I've had to reinstall Windows and the flight sim and everything else. So I think I've pretty much got it set to how it was before I reinstalled everything. I don't know what my dog's doing. He's found something. So yeah, that's it. So let's just have a quick look at the last little bits. I need to reset my views as well. That's the other thing. My views have set into something a bit weird. The other thing I've noticed as well, I'm not too sure why, but the fuel planning in the FMGC was saying that I needed a bit more fuel. Flight plan's about 7.6. It's nice weather, so I haven't got any more fuel, but yeah, it's miscalculated a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see if this is going to be enough. It's about 1.4 to Campino, which is the alternate. So yeah, we're going to have to sort of monitor that, I suppose. But anyway, let's have a quick look at what we're doing. So these are the preliminary load sheets. I redid the flight plan, so there's 2 load sheets, so this is the preliminary one. So yeah, zero fuel weight is 55.5 tons, which is what we want. Takeoff fuel is, no, this might be the older one. No. Okay, takeoff fuel is a little bit higher than that. It's going to be about 7.2, 7.3 tons. But that's okay, we can manage that. The RAM is good, it's the wrong speed. You got, oh okay, yeah, I mean again, Dark, you just whew, straight over my head, mate. I've got no idea. Does the alt time calculate now after putting in the alternate fuel? No, it doesn't look like it anyway. So normally if you left this blank and you went fuel planning, what should happen is it should calculate the amount of fuel you need, for obviously based on the flight plans, the winds and everything else. Oh, it's done it actually. Oh, this is I don't think it did this before, but yeah, it should calculate your trip and trip or block fuel, trip fuel, and your block time. So 5.5 tons and 2 hours and 9 minutes, which is not what the flight plan says. So yeah, there's a little bit of discrepancy. So what do we've got? So this is the newer flight plan. So it thinks about 4.5 tons, 4.6, 1.57. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, we're using, I've got 1.6 right in the arrival, but yeah, not quite sure why it's a little bit off. It's like an extra ton there. Anyway, so we're not taking that. We're taking 7.6. So we'll just monitor this. We'll see if this is going to be an issue at all. And it's nice weather anyway, so I mean, technically we could commit to Rome anyway, so it's not really going to be an issue. Not really going to need the alternate fuel unless something goes wrong in flight, of course. Hey Ryan, how you doing? So yeah, what we're doing, this so fuel weight CG is 30.1. So takeoff weight is going to be about 62, just under 63 tons. So again, below max landing weight is not a problem. So just waiting for the boarding to be complete and to get the final load sheets. In the meantime, we can get performance. Just write this down before I forget. 63 tons. And so what did I say? the takeoff CAG was going to be. About 28-ish, 28%, more or less 28.2. Good, let's have a quick look at performance. Gatwick. I haven't got clearance. I think VATSIM is online. I think Gatwick approach is online at the minute, but we get clearance from here. But expecting 2.6 left. Weather's dry. It's not been raining. It's going to be config 1. Not tow, no anti-ice. Packs be off. Takeoff, yeah, be about 63 tons. And 28.2, I think the load sheet said. So that would do. Set the live weather. 20 at 4. Okay, yeah, I think it was variable a minute ago, but no, that'd be fine. 15 degrees, or it's gone up a degree as well. And Bravo 1, 2897, yeah, that sounds familiar. So Bravo 1 figures, and there is our performance. So 136, 140. 136, 140. Flat 1. Flex was 68, I think it was. Yeah, 68, and stand 1,000 feet above the aerodrome for the thrust reduction acceleration altitude. So that's good. Green dot is 211, which double checks with there, so that's looking good as well. So I think we're done. We're all set up. I can brief in a second. So yeah, just waiting for that final load sheet. What I might do is see if I can get the clearance from VATSIM. So I think the airhead's done. They should be off really. We refueled. No, we have refueled, I think. That's fine. Yeah, fueling's done. Belts can come on. So let's just see if approach is still there. Haven't disappeared. Gatwick approach. ATIS. Good. Yeah, right, let's speak to them. 26825. Ooh. I feel like my back needs to crack. Right, who are we? Easy 37 Hotel Alpha. Best call sign, is it really? Stand 112, I think we're at. Gatwick approach, very good morning to you. Easy 37 Hotel Alpha, 320 on stand 112. Got information Delta requesting clearance to Rome, please.
Easy 37 Hotel Alpha, Gatwick Director, good morning. I haven't received the flight plan through. If you could try resending for me, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll try again. Stand by. Why is that not gone through?
Approach, 762, ready to start.
762,
let's try this again.
Double check the squawk 4464.
I did file it, but let's try it again.
Break easy 812, turn left now, heading 300 degrees.
Left 30.
Oh, I put the wrong call sign in. That would be why. That would be why. I put 34 Hotel Alpha. Donut. Alright, let's try it again.
44640, just there 762.
Yeah, 762, thank you. Stand 567, push and start as approved. Gatwick QNH 1011.
Push and start, digit 762, QNH 1011.
Now, Director, easy 37 Hotel Alpha, you should have it now.
Okay, with Director, easy 1SS for airborne passing 1,500 feet.
Easy 1854, thank you. Contact London with your passing altitude 135.8. Have a nice flight.
Can you see again the frequency? Easy 184, please.
You're going 18548, frequency 135.8. Bye bye.
Yeah, a bit concerning. This is Amber, but
thank you very much.
I'm sure it'll sort itself out.
Ciao.
Break easy 812, further left turn now, heading
Status,
280 degrees, radar left approach 26 left, report
not too
localized.
sure what Cat 2's there.
Left 20, left $0.
It's Cavalcade Day, don't need Cat 2 anyway.
Easy 37 Hotel Alpha, apologies, your flight plan has now come through. Just confirm your stand number again for me, please.
Yeah, we're standing 112.
Easy 37 Hotel Alpha, thank you. Cleared IFR is filed, Bugner 1 X-ray departure, squawk 2237.
Thank you very much, cleared file, Bogner 1 X-ray departure and squawk 2237, easy 37 Hotel Alpha. Good.
37 Hotel Alpha, read back correct.
That's done. Let's see. Oh, let's zoom in. So 2237. All on me. Good. That's right side. Altitude repeating. That's good. Right. So that's all set up. So let's have a quick brief of what we're doing. Big picture stuff. Really, the weather's nice. It's fine in Gatwick. It's not rainy. You can't really see much because we're oh god, I can't see anything really. A little bit cloudy, but that's fine. It's a nice dry day. Should just silence you for a minute. That'd be a bit better. So weather's good. The aircraft's fine. Cat 2, don't know why that's on the status. Not really. Shouldn't be there, but that's good. All oils and hydraulic fluids are fine. No time's nothing really to affect us for the departure. Threats, no real threats either, really, to be fair. I've got to get going to work at some point today, but we should be down in Rome well before that needs to happen. MSA is fine around Gatwick, 4,000 is nice and safe. We've got the flight plan in. So we've got Gatwick, Rome, Campino's the alternates, 39,000 feet again. It's got 3.6. Because of these weights, it's expecting me, which it thinks we should be a bit heavier. It doesn't think we can make the 390s, so yeah, maybe 370 initially. So just have to monitor this and the fuel burn certainly to see where we can get to. So 370, flight plans in, Bogdan X-ray is what you've just been cleared to. The stop altitude on that is 5,000 feet, which is set. And the rest of the route is in. Distance is looking pretty good, 853 miles versus... boarding's complete, excellent, good. 853 versus... hang on, get the right page. 880, so yeah, distance is looking pretty good. Radnavs, nothing really in the radnavs, don't really need that. Progress, we got the runway to get back in here if we need a return. Performance, we've got dry figures flat 1. 26 left 5 Bravo, probably going to go for our Alpha, so this performance is in hand. Fuel, yeah, it's not looking great, but we'll look at that in flight. And secondary is just basically standard company Airbus emergencies, just straight ahead, standard strategy for Gatwick. 1,700 feet, we can make a left-hand turn, hold at Willow, and then just come back into Gatwick and land there. Blow max landing weights, there's no problems. That's pretty much it. There's not much else to say. Just waiting for that final load sheet. Oh, we've got about 5 minutes actually before we need to go, so that's not looking too bad. Oh, I know. There we go. That was why flight directors weren't on. That's looking better. Right, let's have a quick look at the chat lists. Where are we? So, aircraft acceptance has been completed. Fuel quantity we have 7.6, and it's balanced. Seatbelts, they're on. ADRSs, we have 3 in nav, and the bar ref is QNH1011. That's the cockpit preparation checklist completes. So again, if anybody's watching, anybody's got any questions, anybody needs to know anything, feel free to ask, certainly during quiet periods. Yeah, I'm just hoping this all sort of is a nice sort of stable sim, I suppose, nowadays. Certainly seems a bit better, like Windows loads are a lot faster now. Everything seems to be a lot quicker since I've got the SSD in, which was actually a very easy job. So yeah, I'm hoping this improves performance. And it's just the stability of the sim, I suppose, or stability of the PC at least. So, yeah, these are good. Interestingly, when I reinstalled Microsoft Flight Sim, the profiles, the control profiles for the Phoenix, for the thrust master, thrust levers, and the side stick, and the rudder pedals, they're all saved. They're still there. Put an SSD in, Ryan, so I had an old school hard drive in, but it was just a little bit slow. Everything was slow to load, and it was just causing numerous problems, lagging, or I'm assuming that was the reason for it anyway. So it was just a little bit slow, I suppose, just a little bit behind the drag curve, I suppose we can say. Yeah, so we got an SSD sent to us, and we've put that in. So hopefully that just speeds things up. So it's all reading the data, isn't it, from the hard disks effectively. And if that's struggling to sort of keep up, you know, I think that jetty's attached itself in a funny way again. So that was done. Let's get that closed, that off. Chocks and cones can go. Tuck can be attached, and it's got the APUs, the ground power can go. Why is the door still open? Close the door, you numpty. Good, right, ready to go, just waiting for that load sheet. I do have, that was one thing I did as well, so I had AIG traffic in the last sim, but I put the FSTL, FSL, STL, I can't remember what it is, but hey Gav. Yeah, I wouldn't throw it out the bedroom window, trust me. I mean, I don't have a lot of patience, but no, I wouldn't do that. So, I'm far too grateful for what I've got. And, you know, as with most of these things, it just requires a very relatively simple fix. Somebody landing? Oh yeah, somebody was. So yeah, this is the FSTL traffic, which does seem to work really well actually. It's, you know, a lot less labour intensive to set it up. Seems to be a lot easier. The models seem pretty good as well. I mean, they're, you know, they're basically the same liveries, aren't they, of any other aircraft? So, with exception to one or two, some are still white and blank, but we can cope with that. I'm not going to whinge too much. Certainly makes it a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, AIG was quite big, wasn't it? That was the problem with it. Yep. Oh, I do need to. Oh, no. See, I need to reset my views. There we go. There's a low cheat. 10 seconds before we're due to go. Not fantastic, but there we go. That would do. Right, so 0 fuel weight 55.6. There's barely any change on that. 29. So yeah, that's still within 2%, which is good. Trim is 27.1. So that's what we're set once we start the engines. Fuel's good as well, so don't need to do any corrections to that at all. There's no LMCs, that's going to affect the performance. So good, have your flight plan, your performance, and I'm fairly confident that will probably clear by the time we get going. But you know, if we get Cat 2 in op, it's fine. It's a nice day down in Rome, so it's not going to be a problem. So anyway, we're all good. I think we're done. That's all set up. So all we need now is the clearance. Hey Mark, how you doing? That's all done, that's done. Doors are closed, yeah. And director Easy 37 Hotel Alpha, stand 112, ready, push to start. Oh, I'm on Unicom. Disregard. Carrier director Easy 37 Hotel Alpha, stand 112, ready, push to start.
Easy 37 Hotel Alpha, stand 112, push and start is approved, face east on Lima, QNH 1011.
QNH 1011, push and start, approved, face east on Lima, Easy 37 Hotel Alpha. Good, well that kind of makes sense. Get you on and get you going. So basically to push and face that way, because we're going to go down Lima and then Papa down to Alpha November. So that's done. Full starts, parking brake is on, takeoff data is confirmed, windows are closed, PDs was sort of on, but I don't really care about them too much at the minute. Doors are closed and armed, the beacon is on.
I'm aware of that. Are you fully ready for departure?
So parking brake can go off.
Yes, ready for departure. Yes.
And we can start.
Is it 762, roger, you've actually gone to Mike 1, but from Mike 1, runway 26 left, clear takeoff.
Right, so probably clear to start the engines, so engine mode selector is start. And done. I won't bother doing a single engine just because it's a fair bit, so it's not, it's a relatively short taxi.
Left 100 degrees, easy 812, percent passenger.
Gatwick director, Lufthansa 2179, inbound timber, passing flight level 10,700, descending flight level 8,000.
Lufthansa 2179, Gatwick director, good morning, information echo is current, expect a straight in approach for the ILS runway 26 left, turn right now, heading 275 degrees.
Turn right 275 degrees, expect ILS straight in.
So you're probably not having a proper pushback thing, you're going to go to eyeball it yourself, but that's fine.
Eurowing 7615, expect late landing clearance, 1 to depart ahead, surface winds 200 degrees less than 5 knots.
Expecting late landing clearance, Eurowing 7615.
Lufthansa 2179, 34 track miles, descend altitude 5,000 feet, Gatwick QNH 1011.
Alright, that'll do.
Gatwick QNH 1011, Lufthansa 2179.
Parking brakes on. It's good start on number 1, starting number 2.
You're in 7615, runway 26.
Have you sorted out your music problem, Gav?
Clear to land, runway
Have DPD arranged to pay you back?
Egypt Air 762, report your passing altitude to London, 135.8. Have a nice flight.
Right, the tug's disappeared, and nozzle steering's disconnected. That's fine. Well, disconnected to ECAM memo's gone.
Egypt Air 762, report passing altitude to London, 135.8. Bye-bye.
Right, sounds like it's going to be them after departure.
135.8 Egypt Air 762.
Yeah, nice to have a bit of ATC. I don't usually get ATC when I stream. Right, anyway, that's good. 246, almost there. Start that.
Gatwick director, good morning.
Engine started, they're looking good. Most sectors back to normal. Bleak and come off, no need to fancy ice in. Oh, not that one. APU's coming off.
5781 Gatwick director, good morning. You
Spoilers.
are cleared IFR to Rome, Bogdan 1
Rudder
squawk
flaps.
1070.
And should be anything on the status. No, that's clear. Cat 2's disappeared now, which is good. So the off starts, anti-ice is off, not required. Ecam status is checked. Pitch trim. Oh, that's what I didn't do.
One reback track.
What do you say? It was 27-ish. Somewhere about there. I know there's something I forgot. 27.1 is set, and the rudder trim is... I've got a random phone call from somebody. Rudder trim is neutral, so the off-start shots are complete. So yeah, taxi down here should be quite straightforward.
2179, 25 track miles, continue descent all the way down to 3,000 feet.
25 track miles, descend 3,000
So expecting
feet,
Lima,
descend
Papa,
209.
and then Alpha November, Alpha South, somewhere around there. What's the procedure when landed? Is it common to turn on? Yeah, it is. Let me get back to that one, Ryan. It's yeah, quite easy. Director Easy 37 Hotel Alpha is ready for taxi.
27 Hotel Alpha, thank you. Right on Papa, left Alpha Sierra, hold Alpha 1.
Right on Papa, Alpha Sierra and Alpha 1, Easy 37 Hotel Alpha. So, yep, straight ahead down there, Papa, Alpha Sierra, hold Alpha 1, which is, that one. Usually Alpha 2 is where we hold, but Alpha 1 would be fine.
Well, maintain present
So,
heading.
taxi's on.
Cleared ILS approach. Report.
Brakes off.
2179.
Bit of thrust.
During 7615, welcome to Gatwick. Take your second right on to Juliet. Taxi and hold short of Romeo. Expect
Come on, girl.
559.
Yeah, see, there's a new thing with the APU, is that some aircraft now, certainly the newer ones like the Neos, you don't actually need to start the APU anymore to do single engine taxi. So you can actually do single engine taxi without the APU. You still need the APU starter before you start, before you park, because when you shut the engines down, you need the electrics. But yeah, some aircraft you do need to do it, and some aircraft you don't. So brake check.
26 right, not an active runway. You can cross at your discretion. Second right onto Juliet and hold short of Romeo.
So it's just a bin man.
Juliet
I know what he is.
You're being 7615.
Is 812, turn left now, heading 060 degrees.
Left 060, receive 12.
Yeah, they need to do something about this. I mean, what's a coach doing in the middle of the taxiway? Oh, I'll just have to go through it. Sorry.
This is 27 Bravo Kilo, Gatwick Director, very good morning.
Oh, I need to blow my nose.
Current, expect vectors to the Alice approach runway 26 left.
1 second.
Continue descent to flight level 80.
Continue descent to flight level 80, expect Alice 6 left for
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Right, so here's Papa right down here. Do a flight controls once down on Papa. Right, so the flight controls we have full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral. Now this is a bit Phoenix, you need to sort this out. I'm sorry, but you know I am going to publicly say this. You need to sort this disconnect push button, because I know the reasons why you're doing it. I know it's because people don't have rudder pedals and this, but this is pissing me off. You need to be able to press this, and I need to be able to do my rudder flight control check, and I can't do that the way you set it up. So please, for God's sake, would you sort this button out and get it like it should do, like you had it before? Because if I do a rudder control check now, I'm going to go off the run, you know, off the taxiway because I'm turning. So you need to put this back to how it was, where I can press that and I can do my flight control check without actually steering myself off the taxiway. So sorry, that's my first whinge of the day. Phoenix, sort it out, get this back to how it was.
812 left turn now,
It's just not correct. So yeah, it's annoying me. So I'll do the rudders once we're stationary, probably.
Easy 27 Bravo Kilo upper timber, fly heading 350 degrees.
7350.
Or maybe once we're sort of turning and then facing out for 2.
Lufthansa
07615, take your left onto Romeo, then Lima and
Right, I've had
Quebec
5 minutes.
559.
We've had 3 minutes, that's fine. No traffic about.
Lufthansa 2179, establish.
I haven't got there yet, Gav. I haven't even done the flight controls yet.
2179, thank you, further descent.
I haven't done the flight controls because Phoenix have buggered this up.
Continue approach.
If they hadn't buggered it up and left it like it was, I could have done things earlier.
Speed 160 knots until 4 me, continue with light path. Lufthansa 2179.
Right, let's just slow right down to do this.
Hotel Alpha, the surface wind's 200 degrees, less than 5 knots. From Alpha 1, runway 26 left, clear for immediate takeoff.
Stand by, we're not going to be ready for another minute or so. EC 379 Hotel Alpha.
227 Hotel Alpha, roger, takeoff clearance cancelled. Hold at Alpha 1 and report fully ready.
Yeah, hold Alpha 1, Wilco EC 37 Hotel Alpha. Right, so the rudder,
Bravo, Kilo, you
4 left rudder,
round about 25
4 right
miles,
rudder,
altitude 3,000 feet.
and neutral. So there we go, the flight controls are done. So now we can do the flows. So that's on max, transponder's all good and it's on. That's on normal, don't need that. Weather radar can come on, that's done, and then takeoff day confirm. So there we go. So that's your takeoff. Sorry. Taxi scans, and taxi checklist flight controls are checked. Flap setting is config 1. FMAs, we got climb now blue 1FT2. Red unpredicted wind shear is on. ECAM memo is takeoff no blues, and EFBs are stowed. And come on FO, do your job. Disconnected. So yeah, good point. There's which probably a lot of people may be, I don't know, a bit intimidated with that sim. I'm not really 100% sure, but you know, he gave me takeoff clearance. In fact, an immediate takeoff clearance, but I was nowhere near ready. I hadn't done my checks, I hadn't done my flows. So, you know, if you're not ready to go, just say, no, I'm not ready, mate. Sorry, you're going to have to stand by. I'll let you know when I'm ready. So, you know, don't forget, you're flying the aircraft. You're in control of this thing. You know, the controller is doing his best to keep the tin moving effectively, but, you know, if you're not happy with a clearance or anything else, then, you know, there's no problem rejecting it and just saying, no, sorry, mate, you're just going to have to wait until I'm ready. And he was quite happy, just said, okay, takeoff clearance cancelled and report ready. So that's what we'll do. But yeah, don't feel bullied or pressured into taking off when you're not ready if you haven't done your checks. It's you know, it's difficult to sort of say, but you know, again, you know, you're in control of this. So you go at your pace, and if you're not ready to do something, then you know you're not ready to do something. So you've got to really manage them. Anyway, we are ready now. So.
Right on Quebec Alpha, stand 559.
Left on Lima and right on Quebec Alpha for stand 559.
I'm just holding at Alpha 2. I know you said Hotel Alpha 1, which is there, but you know I can see the traffic here. Just so I don't blind the poor guy. And Director, thanks very much for that. EC37 Hotel Alpha is fully ready for departure.
EC37 Hotel Alpha, roger, via Alpha 1 behind the landing Lufthansa A320 on 2 mile final, line up and wait 26 left behind.
Roger, behind the landing Lufthansa 320 via Alpha 1, line up 26 left behind EC37 Hotel Alpha. So that's the clearance behind him, and you know, with that clearance, it's a behind clearance, so you've got to say behind the landing aircraft is conditional, so behind him, and then you've got to finish that sentence with behind as well, so you know, quite sort of specific phraseology. But this should be the Lufthansa, so we get the lights going. May not be a lot of space behind the guy behind, so we'll just get this ready now. That's on.
Is it 27
No
Bravo
reds.
Kilo, turn left now,
See,
heading 240 degrees,
sort of
cleared
reds.
Alice, approach 26
Is he a Lufthansa? I think so. I can't see. Yeah, I think he is. So there we go. It's a Lufthansa 320. So somebody on the approach. What's that? It's at 5 miles, yeah. So it's a little bit of tight separation. So you won't hang about too much. The lineup checklist says
it will be a late clearance for your touch and
cabin
go
is
surface
give
200
takeoff.
degrees,
Takeoff runway is 26 left fire alpha.
Roger.
Lineup clearance, lineup only. TCAS is DARA. Packs 1 and 2 are off. Throwing the poor guys in the back around there. So again, we're going from Alpha. We got Bravo figures. I didn't do the PEDs, did I? But yeah, performance is all good.
2179, vacate next right.
Engine out straight ahead, 6 feet left turn to Willow. Departure is Bogdan on X-ray. We're stopping at 5,000. So again, even missed something. That's what happens when you get rushed.
It's obviously the air bridge isn't rendered in properly. Yeah, if you take any stand around you, that's fine.
Alright, thank you for the service. You're ringing 7615. Bye-bye.
Cool, he's going to give us clearance.
27 Hotel Alpha, surface winds 200 degrees, less than 5 knots, 26 left, clear takeoff.
Clear takeoff, easy 37 Hotel Alpha. So, stand up to 50%.
2179, welcome to Gatwick, second right onto Juliet, taxi and hold short of Romeo, expect stand 101.
Taxi Juliet, hold short Romeo, expect stand
Flex
101.
68 SRS runway.
Gatwick director with a 6578 pushback from stand 15, request clearance taxi.
With a 65781, taxi left November, left Alpha Sierra, hold Alpha 1.
100 knots.
Taxi left November, Sierra and hold Alpha 1 with a 6578.
Easy 812, go around, let's
V1.
again go around, left turn heading 180, climb altitude 3000.
Rotates.
Is the 812 going round left second string?
So let's go around behind
Easy
us.
812, left heading 180, climb and maintain 3000.
So it's not going to let that affect our departure.
Climb and maintain 3000 BT. Continue.
So positive climb, gear up.
Is 27 Bravo Kilo, roger, descend with the glide path.
AP1, that makes the workload a little bit easier. He could have made that.
Is 37 Hotel Alpha, contact London with your passing altitude 135.8, have a nice flight.
1358, easy 37 Hotel Alpha, Gilly. So thrust climb, again fly the jet, not worried about speed and swim yet, that's on. Get him on.
Yankee Alpha hold low.
So that go around's going off to the left, which is fine, so we've got the separation.
Heading 240 degrees, descend to altitude 4,000 feet, QNH 1010.
So 45 feet, QNH 1010, speed of 389.
And 0389, the heading 240 degrees, please.
Heading 240 degrees, speed of 389.
Controller, very good morning to you, EC37 Hotel from the Bogdan 1 X-ray departure, passing 2,700, climbing 5,000. So air speeds from 0. He's ignoring me.
EC37 Hotel Alpha, thanks. You identified climb now, flight level 70.
Climb now, flight level 70, EC37 Hotel Alpha. So 70, that's a flight level. Let's just go VS.
Contact Gatwick Director
And set
126825.
standard is set cross jet 70 blue.
Going to Gatwick director 136525, Alpaca 14 Echo Golf.
Totally wrong, 126.825.
So speed constraints in this first turn, but green dot's well below 220, so that was going to be a
Short
problem.
Papa turn right, heading 240
Bit of descending traffic, so just keeping that vertical speed relatively low, just so we don't inflict any TAREs.
Descending 3000,
Going through the cloud, but temperature is, at the minute it's still okay, it's still 14 degrees, so don't need the anti-ice just yet. Leave the cabin crew, because obviously flying through a little bit of cloud as well. Yeah, I've noticed a difference. Christian is definitely, it seems a bit better.
Identified. You can climb now, flight level 170.
I'm missing all my, what I'm missing is my cabin views, that's what I'm missing.
Shutter 3 Papa established to standard.
Shuttle 3 Papa, thank
Yeah,
you.
we always
27
missing
right,
Gav.
clear to land,
Alright,
wind
that's, I mean,
223
it's just,
6 knots.
it's, you know, human nature. We're always going to miss things. So 1,000 to go. Let's reduce this down a bit. Why VS not open climb? Because we've got a lot of traffic around, Ryan. So there's traffic there who is descending. So if we use open climb and we get a high vertical speed, we can set off the TCAS. So we can set his TCAS off and we can set mine off as well. So when you're in like a TMA, you know, like this, where you've got a lot of traffic around, you don't want to be causing unnecessary TCAS alerts.
Correction, ED37 Hotel Alpha, climb flight level 170.
Climb level 170, EC37 Hotel Alpha. So they've got been given a good clearance now, 10,000 feet. So now we can do open climb because we've got, you know, basically 10,000 feet to climb. So we're not really in the way of any traffic. So, you know, initially, because we only had a climb clearance to 70 and there was traffic around, we just want to lower that vertical speed so we don't actually make any TCAS RAs go off, you know, especially ours, because, you know, at the end of the day that just causes paperwork. Right, so temperature still 12 degrees. Seems smooth. I'm happy for the girls to go. So head down, happy for the lights to go as well.
Whiskey, London Control, guten Tag. You're above my airspace, I'm afraid, so back to Unicom, but thanks for the call.
Okay, Unicom 1228, have a nice day.
A little bit of weather here, but I think we're going to be above it. It's not going to be too much of an issue. What I might do, just so we got a good climb rate, just keep 250 knots. Just so we don't sort of mingle in this bit too much. Because dark sort of grey clouds, you can pretty much guarantee they're going to be a little bit lumpy. Not the most comfortable things, especially if you just released the cabin crew. They're out doing their service, not them falling over. Right, got the MSA as well, so that can go. Keep the belts on. HD just sounded like what did I say? Hey Dave. Good. Well, I'm glad you guys are seeing a difference. I mean, I'm definitely seeing a difference. I mean, it's not quite as laggy when I'm looking around, which is good. So yeah, if you notice a difference, then that's probably a good thing. Right, so they're back in.
Good day, Seabird 33 Alpha with you. Descending to flight level 180.
Seabird 33 Alpha.
Contrail up there. Somebody else is going off to the south.
0376.
So temperature's 7 now. We're still getting a little bit more moisture, so anti-ice is coming on.
Could you repeat that score, please?
Seabird 33 Alpha, squawk 0376.
Airports are on. Right now, that's all cleared. 370, yeah, we can do that. 390 is maybe a bit of a push. That can go
Speedbird 2784, contact the tower 118.5.
Fuel.
To you shortly.
Yeah, it's not amber anymore at least. So it's looking a little bit better. I'm going to leave the secondary for a second.
Right,
I'm going to leave the belts on as well.
735 feet on the heading, clear LS 27 right, number 2, 2389.
So again, yeah, just tiny little bits of fluff of weather, but nothing too bad. None of this is convective.
Information, Romeo Vectors 27 right, descend flight level 80.
Vectors 27 right and down straight out.
The description is misleading. Notice that. Doesn't look like the flight simulator. No. No, it does look very good. I mean, I've got my...
37 Hotel Alpha, nothing further for you. Continue with Unicom 122.8. Bye-bye.
No worries. Thanks very much for the service. On to Unicom now, 122.8. Have a good day. See you later.
Cheers, bye.
Right, 1228. So a bit of peace and quiet.
We are unplugged. Thank you for the service. Bye-bye.
Come on. 22.8. There we got it. And guards on 2 as well. So make sure we have a listening voice on that. They're not doing CPDLC, are they? So normally if you do CPDLC, oh, there we go, it's level off outstart. So let's carry on. He said he's left us. So first climb, open climb 370 blue. And jet 370, that's what we wanted to do. It seems smooth enough, so let's just go manage speed. I think we're over the worst of it. Yeah, I just need the sun visor down. It's always a bit dark in here. That's a bit better. Floodlights are down, yeah. Let's turn these up a little bit. Good, so we're on our way. That's the end of the SID, so we'll probably go manage climb now. There's no more constraints, so manage climb. So I don't know what it's got. Yeah, there we go. So it had a managed 6,000, I think, there, because it was 6,000 feet at Bognor. So that was the danger. If you saw that really, really quickly, that's the danger of doing managed climb before you get to the end of the SID, is that, you know, it might start looking to get constraints and stuff. And obviously we were above that, so it wasn't really too much of an issue. But use something like Open Climb or VS on the departure, and then once you're sort of past the SID and there's no more constraints in the flight plan, that's when you can go back to a nice managed mode like managed climb. So it's quite a high, it's a very high airspeed for cost index of 0. Cost index of 0 should be giving you about 270 odd knots in the climb. So not too sure where that's been modelled from. That's not quite correct. Right, well, I think it's okay for the self-loading freight, so we can turn the belts off. Hey Paul, good evening. I hope the other side of the world is treating you well. And that's it now, so then we can just get going. So what time does it say we're going to arrive? 1:40 local, UK local. So that's good. That gives me plenty of time. Missed call. So I get missed calls, well, I get phone calls from just random mobile numbers, and I refuse to answer them because I don't know who they are. Sometimes, I mean, it's not work. I know if it's work because I know when it's work. But yeah, I don't really like answering random phone numbers from mobiles. So when do I check in later? Okay. Just trying to work out when I actually leave the house to go to work. Ice not detected. Oh, that's funny because I didn't think you had that equipment on board. You shouldn't have that equipment on board because I deselected you. We don't have the ice detection equipment. Sim settings. Airframe. Yeah, so what? Why have you, yeah, all these have changed. I bet the RA callouts have gone back. Yeah, that should be there, that should be there. I don't want 1,000. DDRMI as well. That's better. So I have an equipment on my aircraft that I don't normally have. Right, temperature, so we're just waiting now for this to be sat to be -40 or lower, or outside the cloud. As soon as we're outside the cloud, not invisible moisture, we can turn the anti-ice off, but until that point, that's staying on. There's the ice. Oh, there's the ice detection probe. So normally you wouldn't turn the wing anti-ice on unless you start seeing ice accumulation on this. You know, if you start seeing ice accumulation on the sort of ice probe, then we would turn the wing anti-ice on as well. But we're not in icing conditions. There's somebody else there. Not Haiti's at. So there, Gav. Yeah, hopefully should be good. Fingers crossed. Have you changed the livery settings linked? Well, I mean, it's the first flight I've done since I've reinstalled the sim, Christian. So I mean, I did save this before I started the stream, but it somehow reverted back. I don't know why. That doesn't matter. We can adjust these in flights, can't we? I need to get the Phoenix Views CFG file in. That's in the D drive at the minute. But yeah, all my... Oh, it's got the Phoenix logo as well. Yeah, all my views in the cabin have gone. So I've got my other views, and I need to set these views up again. So that's one other job that I need to do. I also need to put the panels back on the PC because they're open at the minute since I put the hard drives in and played around with it. So yeah, I need to put the panels back on. Otherwise there'll be too much dust getting in there. Right, let's get that back on. Makes it a bit easier to see the screens. I don't think we need that secondary anymore, so that's copied. So I'll be straight over the top of Paris, and then Paris down to, where are we going? Is that Bâle, near Lyon, somewhere down there, a left turn over the Alps, and then sort of down the sort of western coast of Italy, down towards Rome itself. So yeah, still this cloud layer which we've got to go through, and temperature still minus 31, so yeah, we're still going to keep the anti-ice on. Question earlier above, what was the question? Could you quickly show how to fly an offset and return back to normal again? Also, what is a common offset distance? Is that the one you mean, Christian? Is that the question? How old are you? Is that what you wanted to know? If they got it, I'm sure they have. So it's a lateral revision. So it's an offset. So offset, there's a few rules with offset. You only really need to do them in MMPS airspace, so sort of oceanic airspace. And the reason you do that is the reason that's been done is because the navigation equipment is so advanced nowadays, the position accuracy or the position keeping is so advanced that in the olden days when they just used IRS and drift and stuff, people would do a flight from 2 points in their IRSs, but because of the drift, the two aircraft were never in exactly the same place, even though they sort of navigated to the same point, but it wasn't that accurate, so there was always a little bit of drift and a bit of error involved anyway, so the chances of hitting somebody else, certainly coming the other way, were quite slim due to the drift. But due to GPS and the navigation accuracy of everything else nowadays, you need to effectively mitigate it, because if you've got two aircraft flying the reciprocal routes of each other, so one going from west to east and one going from east to west to the same waypoints, it's so accurate that if they were flying that track, there's probably a very good chance they would hit each other, because the keeping the accuracy is so good. So what they've done is they've introduced offsets, and the rules are you always offset to the right, so you always go to the right, you never go to the left. And generally in MMPS airspace or oceanic airspace, you only ever really do it for 1 or 2 miles, because that's going to be enough separation from other traffic if it's coming the other direction. So that's kind of it. So I mean, you can do any sort of distance you want, really. I mean, if you had a bit of weather on your routes, potentially you could offset 10 miles and do that. I mean, normally you would just ask for headings, but if you're in a particular airspace that doesn't have any radar controller, again over the oceans, you may not, I mean, you might have CPDLC nowadays, but you could just offset around a bit of weather potentially. But yeah, you only ever do it to the right, and you only ever usually do it for 1 or 2 miles, so you just put right, say 2, and if you put the offset in there, that's then hopefully drawing a right then 2 miles off the track, and then you can insert that, and then that's going to start flying the offset. So we're now 2 miles right of track, which is the plan. So where is he? He's at 370. Okay, let's go. Well, we can't do 39, he's going to be in the way. Let's go 35 initially, because there's traffic now. I don't want to conflict with him as he starts going out of the way. Come on, why don't you change? Yeah, because of that. Maybe because of the FCU. Alright, there we go. So it's 350 blue now. So let's just stay underneath this guy. Only seen it when the aircraft was avoiding a thunderstorm cloud, a few offsets for that. Yeah, so it is possible. It is possible for weather. There we go, so we're minus 42 now, so even though we're still in a little bit of moisture, it's now too cold for any ice to be a problem, so we can turn the anti-ice off. So yeah, if there was weather, say there was weather at impacts, you could go right to do that. I mean, I suppose technically you could go left, really, if it was weather avoidance, but I mean, if you're over Europe, you're not going to be using an offset to go to avoid weather. You're going to ask ATC, because they're the ones that are effectively controlling you. So yeah, it could be used for weather avoidance, but more historically or more traditionally it's used for oceanic airspace, and this is what you do when you're flying oceanic airspace. And we haven't done oceanic airspace for a while now, because I don't think our aircraft have got the equipment to do it. But let's just have a quick look at the routes. I wonder if it's got airways on here. My airways, that's what I want. So yeah, here we go. So we used to do Tango routes, which are these airways here. So let me just, how far were we? So yeah, radar controlled airspace. You've got Brest here, you've got Spain here, Portugal, and then you've got Santa Maria and Shanwick. So this is all MNPS airspace here. There's no radar controller here at all. That's monitoring the radars. Just that they don't have that much range to see you. I mean, they might see you for a little bit, but you know, out here they won't see you at all. So we've got these Tango routes that we call them, and we used to fly down here all the time. Tango 16 down to Canaries. You know, certainly if Brest was going on strike, which is what the French, you know, do quite, you know, commonly, is they go on strike, and it means, you know, a lot of traffic is disruptive, and they can't go through this airspace. They have to go out here over the sort of Atlantic and down these Tango routes and avoid the airspace completely. So you can fly down these Tango routes, and there's certain procedures here for flying in these particular bits of airspace. There are certain procedures to follow, contingency procedures as well. If you have weather, there's certain contingency procedures you've got to follow, because there's no radar to effectively look after you. So there's contingency procedures you use instead. And one of the things that you do when you're flying on these tracks, and there's two here, Tango 16, Tango 13, was it? Yeah, 16 or 13, 213. Tango 219, Tango 9. So there's a few Tango routes there to sort of get you outside of Brest airspace, to keep you clear, so you can still go to the south towards Portugal, the Canaries. And it was on these routes here that you did this offset. So you would go offset by, you know, 1 or 2 miles. And you know, it was only voluntary. You didn't have to do it. You know, it wasn't compulsory, but it was always advised. So in the documentation we had, it was always suggested, it's for 1,000 to go, always suggested that, you know, we offset by 1 or 2 degrees, just in case somebody had got lost and was going on this airway the other way. So it would give you a little bit of separation. So there's that other traffic. He's 370, so he's above us, and he's also, how far away is he? So if he's within 10 miles, yeah, he's just on 10 miles, Mech out star. So I don't really want to be at his altitude, you know, within 10 miles, because it's not really enough separation. So there's our cruise. Put the cost index back in. Go back into 4. And so yeah, 350, 390, maybe. Once the optimum goes up, we might be able to do it. Well, it just passed impacts. We got 5.8 tons, and it's 21 minutes. A quick fuel check. So there's impacts 18 minutes, so a little bit, yeah, I don't know why, a little bit slower than what it predicted. We've got about 5.8, so it's about 200 above that figure there, but contingency is just over about 200. So yeah, we're pretty much bang on the fuel at the minute. So we're bang on sort of CNR for Campino. So that's good. I'd be interested to see where this guy's going actually. I won't be following him for very long. Anyway, let's just delete that offset because we don't actually need to do that. So delete that, we go back on track. We should do. That's gone a bit weird. I think that's just due to the offset, probably messing things up a bit. Radnavs are good, that's fine. Performance is good. Fuel, we'll come back to that in a second. Secondaries copied. Quick look at the system pages. Now they haven't sorted this out yet either. So yeah, all quantities good. Bleeds are acting as normally. Pressurization is acting as normally as well. Electrics, yeah, they're all fine. Hydraulics looking good. Fuel, so we've already got 1700s, 5.7. So what's that? 6.7, 7.4, 7.5. We left with 7.5, so there's no leaks and it's balanced. APU's off. Air conditioning temperatures are fine. Obviously the cabin crew can tell us if we need to drop them. There's no door problems. Wheels are good, and flight controls are also looking good as well. So that's affected out top of climb checks. Need to put that on below. It's done. Good. I have to go sleep. Oh, okay, no worries, Dark. See you later. See you later, Mark. The offset was to make sure they have more safer separation. It was, Christian. Yeah, that was exactly it. So on Tango routes, planes are located by GPS instead. Hence, they go blue on flight radar. Andy, yeah, I think so. I mean, again, I don't really know how flight radar does their coding or updates, but you know how they get their data. I mean, do they get data from radar stations normally? I'm not too sure, but yeah, quite possibly, or it might be a prediction. I don't know. They might know the sort of flight plans and the speeds, etc. They can sort of predict where they're going to be on the map, but yeah, essentially. But MMPS airspace has got a bit more complicated in the last few years, and you need a little bit more equipment. So you now need ADSC, which is what's that? Air data surveillance, something like that. I can't quite remember what it stands for. But you need ADSC equipment to now fly in MMPS airspace, which our aircrafts, some of them have got it, but it's not been approved yet. So we don't fly in Oceanic airspace anymore. We used to, but we don't do it anymore. Which is a bit of a shame because it's actually a good way of getting down to the Canaries and sort of bypassing French airspace when they're striking. But you do need HF. That's another requirement. So you need HF radio to go into MMPS airspace. So you have to have HF on board, which we probably do. You get to know straight away because you can tune. Oh, hang on, that's not a HF frequency. Oh yes, it is. I thought that was a 1 then. Yeah. So there you go. You've got sort of VHF frequencies, which you can then tune. And then you can speak to some of the radio stations using HF, because of course this is a lot more long range frequencies than it is on VHF. So yeah, you need that. What else is there? But we don't do it anymore. It's quite interesting as well, because when we go to Iceland now, this bit of airspace is MMPS, this is shambolic, and some routes take you through this. And sometimes, I have done this where you've gone to Keflavik and we've had to descend. So we've had to descend below the airspace. The airspace starts at about 29,000 feet and goes up to about 41,000 feet, I think. And we have to descend to 28,000 feet and fly underneath it, because we're not allowed to go into it, so we just fly underneath the airspace, and then we carry on up to Keflavik that way. Of course, the other alternative way is you just literally stay in Scottish control, and you go up here, and you basically meet the corner here, whatever that waypoint is, I can't quite remember. Ratsu, that's it, and you basically just go to Ratsu, and then you go from Scottish control into Reykjavik control. So you miss out Shambolic completely. But yeah, it's a bit complicated. There's an Oceanic documents that we've got that we use, which is quite comprehensive, but it's pretty good to be fair. And it just discusses everything sort of Oceanic and what you need, the equipment you need, contingencies. There's a minimum amount of equipment you need for this sort of airspace as well. Company message. Was I probably late? Probably by a minute. AOC received. Delay. How late was I? Surely it wasn't that late. Oh, 1 minute. Yeah, so I don't really care about that. Well, can't see much out the window, unfortunately. There's Paris. Let's get a few weathers. Let's have a look. So, there we go. Weather. What's Paris like? So 2206. Good visibility, bit of light rain. That sort of explains the clouds below us. Bit of cloud, bit overcast yet. 15 degrees. So yeah, it's all workable. It's all Cat 1. There's no problems to get into Paris if we needed to. Where else are we going? I think we're going near Lyon. So we've got Lyon. Lyon is overcast again, so cloudy. It's cloudy over the continent today. But good viz again, Cat 1, no problems. I think we're going near Basel, an FSB. Basel is looking fine. Yeah, a bit of cloud, but again all workable. And let's have a look at Geneva. What's the time? It's almost lunchtime. Geneva is getting a bit cloudy, but again, so that's fine. So we know everything this side of the Alps is looking good. So where's this guy off to? Looks like he's sped up a bit. It's Manchester, and he's going to, where's KJ? I can't remember. Somewhere in Corsica, I think. It's fine. He's probably doing a very similar route to me. Oh, a Jacko. Yeah. Okay. That's not a problem. So you can see we're sort of planning at, well, actually quite a lot lower than what we planned. So the flight plan was for 390. So really, could have done a little bit more fuel. But yeah, we planned for 390 and we're now stuck at 350. So we've got a correction here, which if we were to anticipate this, we could have added it. But 4,000 feet below, which is what we are now, it's another 8 kilograms onto the trip. So instead of it being 4,572, it's now 4,580. So for flying 4,000 feet below your planned cruise altitude, I mean, it's really cost us nothing in fuel. So in that respect, I'm not going to be worried too much about the fuel at all. If this was a much longer flight, if there was a much bigger correction, then obviously we'd probably want to try and get to our cruise altitude as soon as we could. Alright, next thing I want to do is put in my little Alpine decision points in. There's me documents. I've got so much work stuff on this phone. Right, there we go. Right, let's see if I can create this data waypoint. LDD. What was it? 630 north slash 00830 east. That's the one. Install that. So now we can put this in the flight plan. Alp DD. We've got a couple of radials, 090, it is, yeah, and 225. So hopefully that'll be on the flight plan now. So the only problem with this in the Phoenix, there's one thing I think I did notice. It's the lines, yeah, they seem to stop, so you can see it there. So these radials should go out to infinity, so that should just keep on going. But it doesn't. But you can see we put like decision points. This is a couple of lines, so you won't see it. But if I put the terrain radar on, you won't see it in the plan view. But if you imagine with the terrain, the high terrain is all over here, and these two lines are basically intersecting the sort of highest bits of the terrain. So when we're sort of crossing the Alps, this is something I do just sort of in respect to MSA, and it's just awareness that if anything was to go wrong with the aircraft prior to crossing this sort of hashed blue line, maybe a decompression, an engine failure, etc., we'd probably look to turn around and just go. If I've got sort of Geneva there, Grenoble's there, but we've got weather for a few of these. So we had weather. Let's just go back a bit. So yeah, we had like weather for Lyon and Geneva, so we know the weather's good. So if we had a problem before this line, we could sort of turn around and sort ourselves out. If we had a problem after crossing this line, effectively we're sort of committed then to really just going over the top of the high grounds, and you're better off just carrying on and then going into this sort of Milan basin and looking at one of the airports in Milan, because if you turned around after crossing this line, you're probably turning around and descending back towards the high ground, which you don't really want to do. So this is sort of your point of no return, effectively, this line. And then if something goes wrong prior to this, you just turn around and head back. If you're just about to cross the line, certainly just carry on and keep on going to Milan. So that's why that's in there. Again, it's just sort of MSA awareness. It's obviously very, very important. What is it again? There's something like that. Can I find it? I might be able to find it. But DGAD. DGAD, I think it was, Christian. DEGAD. So yeah, there is a waypoint called DGAD. which is, I think that is, yeah, that's there. So I think you can use that one if you don't want to create the one I've just created. But I mean, it's funny because in Lido, in the charts I have for work, the Alp DD waypoint that I've used, where is it? Come on. This one here is actually it's in the database, it's in our charts, so you know, it is a known waypoint that exists. It's just not in our databases in the FMGC. So, you know, we've got the database and the charts that covers all the waypoints, but we don't have all the waypoints in the FMGC that reflect the charts. So yeah, you can either create it or DGAD, yeah, I think is the other one, which is, you know, a couple of miles away, so, you know, for all intents and purposes it's going to be exactly the same. So that's it. Let's have a quick look at Rome. Rome's a pretty straightforward place to get into. There's lots of waypoints and RNAV arrivals, but yeah, I think I'm not too sure what arrival this was. Maybe 16 left. I'm just wondering if they've got it. Can you search for anything? No, I don't think you can. It's quite near Mont Blanc, I think, these waypoints. It'll probably take a while to find them. Where's Geneva? There's Geneva, so Mont Blanc is just the south of that. Yeah, I just wondered if Navigraph had that waypoint. I mean, possibly not. Don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, DGAD will be fine. Remus and Alice. Yeah, it doesn't have it on 2.5, I don't think, Barry. I don't think they land on 2.5. Or the reciprocal of that, wasn't it? The 0.7. But, you know, you very rarely land on any other runways other than 1.6, occasionally 3.4. Let's have a quick look at, I'm not going to read the briefing. Parking stands. This is what I want. So what's the weather doing? Let's have a quick look at the weather. Because I'm planning on 1.6. What do we got? 350 at 6. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Let's have a look at the real world and see what they're doing. Because that sort of wind, you know, they might still be using 1.6, but this is VATSIM, so I know a lot of people will be looking at that on VATSIM and going, oh well, let's use 3.4 then, which, you know, is a fair assumption. It's, but what are they actually doing? Yeah, so there we go. So we got so they're using 1.6 in real life, which makes, you know, pretty much perfect sense. That doesn't make sense because it's 350 at 6, but so there is a tailwind, but I think 1.6 is definitely a more preferential runway, certainly for arrivals and departure, because of course, obviously the let's just write this down. 350 at 6, Cavoc, 21 degrees, nice and warm. 1016, good. So yeah, if we look at the actual runway itself, you know, it's quite efficient to use 1.6 because you have people landing on 1.6, then going to the terminal, 1.6 right and going to the terminal, and then they just take off on 2.5. That's usually how they sort of sort it out. If you land on 3.4, you know, you've got to go a little bit further to then taxi to the runway. You know, you probably still take off on 2.5 as well. So it's quite variable in Rome, and I'm more than happy just to land on 1.6 because 1.6 rights. Sometimes Rome give it to you, sometimes they don't. You know, it's often in our flight plans, it's always planned for 1.6 left, but we usually park down here on these terminals. So if we can get 1.6 left, it's really good for us because it means a really short taxi. Otherwise, you've got to land on 1.6 right, and you've got to taxi down here. There's this sort of standard arrival one that you do. So you basically go down Delta, and then you go all the way down to Echo Golf, I think, and then you've got to transition to the taxi. You know, ground frequency. So it's just a bit more of a convoluted arrival doing this way, where if we can get 1.6 left, it's usually really good. We get straight off Alpha Golf and sort of goes directly to the stand. So I'm going to plan for 1.6 left because that's what we would normally do, and I'm sure some people will get that today. So that's my plan. I don't care what other people are doing. I'm sure somebody will be landing on 3.4 and probably have a go at me. But they should be passing off 2.5 anyway, so it shouldn't really conflict with anybody taking off, because they should be taking off on 2.5, which is what you do 99% of the time. And it was Al Cap. That was it, I think. That's the one. Al Cap 3 Alpha. And I will Zulu 16 right. Yeah, bless you. Is it the Yankee? Maybe it's the Yankee. I can't remember what we do on the maybe the whiskey. So they've all got like Yankees, X-rays, whiskies. There's all different bloody you know, designators for the ILS. Zulu's definitely what we do on 16 right. Maybe whiskey. It doesn't really matter, to be fair. I mean, it's not ILS at the end of the day. The only thing that's probably going to be different is maybe one of the VORs isn't being used for the missed approach. Maybe even have a slightly different missed approach. I don't get it. 16 left is a lot further to taxi. It is, yeah. Yeah, it is. But it depends. It depends where you parked, Barry. It depends on the airline and where they are. So, you know, if you land on 16 left, but you're sort of parking here, then you know it's not too bad. But you know, if you're parking down here, or if you're a cargo, or one of the long haul aircraft, you know, 16 right is better because you know you're much closer to taxi. If you're parking, it is a lot further. Yeah, so it almost becomes like Amsterdam, where if you know you ask for 16 right, and if they don't give it to you and they're insisting on 16 left for whatever reason, then you've got to taxi all the way down here. You know, down Delta, along here, then I can't remember, sort of Golf, Bravo, you've got to sort of go all the way around, and it's a longer taxi, and of course if you're a little bit behind schedule, you know, that's eating into your turnaround time. So ideally, if you can get it, you want to land, or you know, we certainly want to land on 16 right, and then we can come off at Alpha Golf and we can just go parking straight in, either in, you know, one of the 800s, you know, up here. Sometimes, you know, I've parked on the 600s as well, I think, occasionally. But, you know, it's anywhere around here for sort of Terminal 3. So, we're just in the tops here. Right, I think that guy's pretty far away now. He's 20 miles away, yeah. So because he's 20 miles away, I think what I might do is I might climb to 37. Because we can do that. So thrust climb open, climb 370 is blue. And that's gone to 37, so 37 is the Optimus, that's pretty good. So there we go. Sorry if you probably misunderstood, thought you said... yeah, I might have just said the wrong thing, Barry, sorry. For us, 16 right is the preferred. So we prefer to land on 16 right because it just makes it a much easier taxi. Because we're sort of parking usually around here, but we, you know, they do occasionally give us 16 left just because it's really, really busy for whatever reason. So sometimes we have to land on 16 left, and then it's a longer taxi over to here. But if we can negotiate it, which is what we try and do when we speak to Rome quite early on, start up here, you know, El Cap, when we, you know, before we get to approach, we'll often say, look, can we get 16 right tonight, please? And they go, okay, stand by, and then, you know, the next frequency might tell us. So. Yeah, sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. I probably have about a 75% success rate every time I ask for it. I usually get it, but you know, I don't get it every single time. But it's fine. It's, you know, it is what it is. You know, if you're a little bit late, you're a little bit late. You know, that's, you know, it's part and parcel of the airline, I'm afraid. You know, it's never always going to run exactly on time. You know, and sometimes some of our flight plans account for that. You know, it's the flight plans, Amsterdam specifically. You know, that will have a 20-minute taxi time in the flight plan because it's, you know, they know it's going to be a long taxi. So you know, that kind of sort of makes up for it a little bit. You know, some airports, you know, like Gibraltar might have like a 5-minute taxi time, for example, because it's such a small airport. Right, so for 1,000 to go. Go on low, because I'm not going to need anything more than that. While you're still up, you should be there. Probably should have put this above when we were climbing, but there we go. Don't think there's anybody around us, and that other guy's disappeared as well, so he's disappeared in another direction. So we've got 20 minutes until we cross this line. that's easy to work out. You know, again, simple, very, very simple rule of thumb if I'm not teaching anybody to suck eggs. But at our sort of approximate speeds, most airliners sort of flying at these sort of Mach numbers, Mach out star, you're doing about 80 miles in 10 minutes. That's your approximate sort of speed and distance and time. So 80 miles in 10 minutes, so you can just easily work out on these range rings, you know, you've got 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so, you know, 160 miles, that's about 20 minutes away. You know, and you can start working out, you know, where top of drop is and when you start briefing, etc. Alright, that's back to out cruise, so that's back on below. Any red moonlight? Yeah, it's really cloudy today. So I do sense that my PC would normally struggle with this. The clouds look a little bit blurry. I don't know if that's just me. I mean, these are on high, they're not on ultra. Is it volumetric clouds? So I don't know if you could improve these textures a little bit. I do find high maybe a little bit intensive. I think the sim's not quite happy doing that. But you know, these don't look too bad, to be honest, on high. But yeah, they do look a little bit blurry. Almost looks like I've had a couple of beers, but so I haven't. But it's almost, that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's definitely a lot smoother. Moving around and panning around is definitely a lot smoother. So I think this hard drive, this SSD, has definitely helped a lot more. Which those of you that are a little bit more savvy than me will know. Sometimes need to fly Amsterdam to Brussels for a taxi and holding time. It's like, it is, Barry, yes. It is. I mean, you sometimes think you might as well just go on train, it'd probably be quicker, but there we go. Right, I'm just going to disappear for 10 minutes because I need to do some lunch. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. I haven't got a cabin view to look out the window, unfortunately, and there's not really much to see anyway, because I haven't got the cabin view sorted. I'm just going to silence myself, I'm going to do myself some lunch, and I will be back in about 10 minutes. So, yeah, enjoy the view. Right, back with you guys. Just had me lunch, so just sorting that out. There we go, good. So yeah, we're almost there. So we passed halfway now. Hey Tom, how you doing? Hey Peter. So yeah, this is our effectively line of no return for sort of engine out stuff. So it's not displaying here. And some aircraft did this. Some aircraft I've flown, you put the terrain radar on, and it doesn't actually show anything until you're quite low down. And it was just some of the kit really. It should still display like the highest MSAs or the highest obstacles down. It should still give you some sort of warning. The aircraft that I fly nowadays, they still paint it, so effectively this turns into a map. So you can see, I mean you can see it there, you can see the coastline, but it still paints all the high terrain around, so it's really sort of easy to see. I mean it's all green because at this sort of height you're above it anyway, but you can still see where it's going to be. And of course the high terrain sort of around here is sort of going down sort of around here, I think. So yeah, it's just sort of a couple of things that we can sort of discuss. You know, if we had an engine failure, you know, we would probably likely just sort of turn around. Engine failures, you can usually cruise at about 20,000 feet, so that's your sort of single engine cruise altitude. So you know, if you did just lose a failure, it's pretty simple. You would just go straight to MCT, and then you would just disconnect the oil thrust, and then you would just look to sort of probably pull speed, go on a heading, come off the airway, and then drift down to about 20,000 feet. So that's sort of your sort of memory items effectively. If you have an engine failure, that's back and oil thruster. So they're quite straightforward. But you know, if you had a decompression as well, obviously you know you'd know about it because it'd obviously be moisture, a lot of noise, temperature variations. You'd probably just know about it straight away. So obviously the main thing is just getting on the oxygen immediately. So you get your oxygen mask on. You know, say emergency descent, and then you would just wind this down very, very quickly. So wind this down to anything, just doesn't matter. You know, you just go wind and pull. Doesn't matter what it is, it just gets the aircraft into descent. Pull heading, again, you'd either come off the airway or you'd stay on it, depending on where you are. Likely in Europe, you'll probably come off and turn somewhere sensible. And you'd also sort of pull speed as well, because you're then looking to maybe descend at a fast speed. So then you'd confirm your FMAs, which will probably say thrust idle, open descent, heading. You know, hopefully you're both talking to each other by then, and then you would just refine it, just wind this down to something a lot more sensible, maybe 10,000 feet. Or your MSA. You know, obviously there's a lot of terrain around here. Well, it was a bit of an upset, wasn't it? So yeah, you wouldn't descend down to 10,000 feet here because you've got MSA around, so you'd turn somewhere off to the north, off to the west, and then get down to your lowest MSA. So that's effectively sort of memory items for the emergency descent. I wonder if this is like you know, a bit of turbulence maybe from the ground. Put the belts on just in case it lasts. Turning in the wrong direction. So yeah, there's a couple of things which you can consider when you're crossing sort of high terrain like this. Just what you're going to do in the event of like one or two failures. You know, mainly sort of engine failures and decompressions. Those are your sort of, excuse me, those are your two bad ones, which you want to deal with sort of straight away. Alright, wind up, going back to nav. Come on. There you go, it's nav needs them. So yeah, you can see, you can start seeing it now through the clouds where all this high terrain is. So yeah, if you had a decompression, you know, you're not going down to 10,000 feet. Not really initially anyway, because you need to get away from all of this. So this is where your maps can come and help you. Not too sure if it's got the MSAs on it. Might do. Need to have a look. There you go. Yeah, so where are we? Neatem. Which is there. So we can see it's all a little bit. So 18.2. So you know, probably the highest point in the entire Alps. So if we had a decompression now, you know, we're getting down to, you know, probably 20,000 feet initially, until we're getting clear of this, and then we need to go somewhere where, you know, that's below 10,000 feet. So over here we've got 8,000. You know, even going up here towards Milan, it's still really, really high. you can go down towards the south, towards Nice, but that's 10.7. So, depending on the cloud cover, I mean, we're sort of VMC now, so at least you can sort of keep clear of obstacles and terrain visually. But, if this was at night or if this was covered in cloud, you don't really have any idea where this terrain is. So you're going to have to sort of respect these MSA, these grid moorers, religiously, because if you don't, you're going to swap some paint with some hills, and that's not good for the share price. So, yeah, know these MSAs. And then if you get a failure, you've just got to stick to them. I think I did have failures put on, but not that I'm expecting a failure. Yeah, that's all done. Right, let's have a quick look at the weather. Double check with that, look at the performance. So Campino is looking good, Cavalcade, so there's no problems there. And the wind's come round now as well, which I think was the forecast to do that. 280 at 8 Cavalcade, 22 degrees at 1016. Yeah, if we look at the forecast for rain, it is very bumpy. Yeah, it's pretty typical. It's pretty common just for it to be a bit bumpy over the terrain, because you've got all the wind sort of hitting the sort of the hills, and then sort of coming up, and then causing all the sort of upper air turbulence. So this is pretty normal, to be fair. It's actually not a bad. We're at 370. 390 is pushing it, but you don't want to be sort of in this sort of turbulence, with very little margin. Yeah, and if the share price isn't good, then it's not good for everybody, Barry. So, do you like the sort of mist that's there? I mean, that's very sort of nice, a bit of mist in the valleys. Sort of, yeah, I don't think I've seen that before. It's a very nice effect. Anyway, we're looking at the weather. So, yeah, rain forecast, Cavalcade, so visitors all fine, so no problems getting in. And then it's got coming there between 090 and 11, 290 at 15, which is sort of what it's coming to, so that's fine. And then we come in later on variable at 5 knots. So, there's not really any problems if landed on 16 in terms of the winds. We're just sort of outside that. It's 11:35 now. We're landed at 12:30, so we are sort of outside that becoming. But it's sort of staying sort of westerly, I suppose, no problem. But if we look at the landing distance, I mean, this isn't going to be an issue at all, because we know that it's a massive runway. So if we just go 16 right, it's going to be dry weather. Apply that. In fact, what I might do is just put a tailwind. Just put 340, 5 knots. In fact, let's just go 10 knots, because we can do 10 knots. And that just covers the tailwind case. About 3 tons on arrival. So if it's 55, so it's 58. So if we go 59 tons. Let's go 60. I mean, we're not going to be that much below that, I don't think, but that'll work. So yeah, low order brake, idle reverse, flap 3, 10 knot tailwinds, absolutely no problems landing. So that's what we do. And what I might do is I might put this in. QNH is 1016. Temperature's 22. That might increase by the time we get there. 250. That's 280 at 8 even. Go flap 3, minimums I come back to. Flap 3 there, flap 3 there. It's 016. Good. That's done. So it's nice, it's shown a lot of cloud cover sort of north of the Alps, and to the south of the Alps it does look like it's clearing up quite nicely, which is probably how it is in real life. 22 degrees, nice. Flew out of Winnipeg yesterday and it was snow and we had to de-ice before takeoff. Oh yeah. De-icing is a pain in the arse. It's just, I mean it's not, I mean it's necessary, but it's just, you're never going to be on time. You're always sort of delayed. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, my dog's being so good. I was having a good little walk this morning. So we got to top of drop. So here we go. So we got so about 22 minutes, 23 minutes until we start going down. I heard something. So we'll have a quick look at what we're doing. The arrival. So this LCAP arrival, and there's loads of constraints. We do sort of LCAP, Bibek, Gopol, and then this sort of RNAV transition basically to Suvok, with various sort of heights and speed constraints and stuff. Now, I don't expect to do that at all really. What we normally do in real life anyway is sort of Gopol, maybe Zuru, and then maybe straight to Suvok. I mean, very rarely even Gix on Suvok. We very, very rarely do this whole thing because ATC just vector us anyway. So I'm not expecting to do that. So probably at some point round here, I'll maybe just do a direct from Gixham to Suvok, and then we'll just manage the vertical profiles necessary. Maybe a little bit high based on what the constraints are in here, but we'll just make sure we're about sort of 200 knots at Suvok, and the heights for Suvok on the ILS is about 5,000 feet. So yeah, so 200 knots, 5,000 feet at Suvok should probably be a good gate to get to. From there it's the ILS of 16 right. What's that, number 2? Oh, there we go. So heading of 129, 4,000 feet. So yeah, down to 4,000 feet for Malvern. And if we were coming from Campino, which we're not, we go down to 2,500. So 4,000 is effectively the sort of platform altitude. We'll probably intercept that about 12 miles and then just go down the ILS there. 3 degrees, ILS DME is co-located as well, so that's all good. It's a nice wide runway this, I think it's 60 metres wide, so visual perspective is going to be a little bit different. Where would that be? It's on the other chart, isn't it? I'll take minimum's that one, I think. Yeah, 16 right, 60 metres, so a wider runway, so visually may look a little bit low, so just trust the BAPIs and just sort of keep the aim point stable in the windscreen as we always do. So that's 16 right. Go around is straightforward, it's just right hand turn off to the south, then climb to 3,000. So, and then hold off to the south there, so that's fine. Got the other option of 16 left as well. If ATC came online and gave that to us, we could do that as well. And that's Suvok, and that's still got initial approach fix there from Suvok down there. Malvern 3,000, and platform on that is 2,500. Go around is 4,000, so a different misapproach altitude on this as well. If we use 16 left, so that's pretty straightforward. Do I dare? What I might do is I might keep that in the secondary. I'm fairly confident I'm going to get 16 right. Just made your connection in Toronto. Well done, Brian. It's always good to make them. Miss this. What did you upgrade your PC? Andy, I put an SSD in. So when I was donated this PC very kindly by Gavin and Dark, who was my MOC, they set it all up, but it was a HDD, hard disk. So it had an old-fashioned system in front of me actually. What is it? A Crucial. Oh no, that was the instruction booklet. What is it? So it was an older hard drive, but it wasn't really coping very well. I mean, if you've seen any of my videos recently, certainly the last one I did, it wasn't very successful at all because it was lagging and stuttering and all sorts of things. So basically, there you go, Seagate HDD, 1 terabyte HDD. So yeah, on the suggestion of many people, said I probably need to upgrade and start getting an SSD. So yeah, so I've managed to get one of them and put that in the PC, and it's now sort of running a lot better. It's a lot smoother. Don't seem to be having the stability problems. You know, it seems to be pretty good. So yeah, that was kind of what the upgrade was. What's good alternate for Rome? Any small ones in the area? Yes, yeah, so normally, Christian, normally what we have on our flight plans, so again, the OFP in SimBrief doesn't really annotate this as well as what it would do in real life, but normally we'd have sort of Campino as the fuel alternate, because that's the closest. So on the list of alternates, it would say, come on, where are you? I should have done a fuel check by now. So it would say F, probably, as a fuel alternate, and then it would probably say something like C1. Campino might be a commercial alternate, but you know, Naples might be the first commercial alternate, because that's obviously a place we go to. We've got passenger handling facilities, we know there's sort of equipment to deal with the passengers, etc., etc. Where my airline doesn't fly to Campino, so we don't really have the agreements with the ground handlers on handling our passengers. So, they probably could, but they would charge us for it. So, we would go here if we needed to top up the tanks with fuel, but we didn't actually need to take any passengers off. But, more likely if it looked like we weren't going to get into Rome at all because it was really bad weather and, we thought we were going to need somewhere else to go to because we can't get in, we're probably more likely to then look at the commercial alternate, which is probably, in this case, Naples would probably be C1, maybe Pisa. And then I've just whacked whatever airport this was. This was the other side of Italy. As the fourth option. So, yeah, Firenze. Yeah, possibly. No idea. So yeah, this would be a fuel alternate, and because it's Cavo K and Rome today, I can't see any reason why we wouldn't get into Rome. So I've just quite happy gone with block fuel because the chances of us not getting in are probably quite slim. So that's what I've done on that. What was a fuel check? Could have done that. Mogbo. What was that? About 4.2 and about an hour and 12. Quick look at this. Mogbo. Where was? No, that was about 10 minutes behind us, wasn't it? So, yeah, 1.3. Yeah, that's probably about right. 3.8. So yeah, we got a lot more fuel. So we're well above CNR as well. So that's good. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I probably... Should I change this? I might change this just so it keeps the vertical profile happy. So the full routes and the secondaries, if we needed to do that because ATC came online, we can. But what I might do is I might go Gixham. Let's go Zuru. Let's do that. Subok. Is Zuru. Yeah, where's he gone? Yeah, there he is. Right, that's better. So now we're just doing this, we're cutting out this sort of RNAV transition, so hopefully that'll help the vertical profile. What do we say, 5,000s? Yeah, at or above 5,000, let's just put 5,000 in there, just make sure we get it. Speed's 250, maybe a little bit fast. I don't think we want to be quite that fast. Florence is the closest. Yeah, again, I don't think Florence is usually on our list. It might do. It's been a while since I've been to Rome. Actually, it's been a few months. Naples is usually the main alternate we go to. It's usually on the flight plan. I don't really think we go to Florence. I don't think I've ever been to Florence. So yeah, I'm not too sure we do it. So Civics at 4,000 actually. Well, that's 16 right, isn't it? 16 left, so it's 16 right. Get the right one. Yeah, 5,000. So 5,200 knots. What's that? Yeah, it's 15 miles out. A bit more than that. Yeah, I think 220 at Savok would be fine. Which is in there actually. Yeah, 220, 250, 220. Doesn't think we're going to make that constraint for some reason, but that'll be okay. And then we just sort of configure as necessary after that. What's the minimums? What are we doing on 6 right? Minimums we've got ILS, so it's only a Cat 1 by the looks of it. And Cat C is 210 feet, RVRs are 550 metres, which we've got. IRF16 right. Perf. What did I say, 210 was it? 210, yeah. 210, config 3, fuel, so, yeah, so suddenly, interestingly, so, yeah, now we've got, almost a ton extra. Now we've got a ton extra. So fuel burn, yeah, fuel burn's a little bit less. I suppose we've taken out the arrivals, that's probably changed a little bit. Yeah, so that original fuel planning on the ground that we did on the Init B page, it's at about 8.5 tonne, was well off. We never needed that much, and we just went with block fuel in the end. And we've actually done all right. We're pretty much bang on fuel with a little bit extra, burn a little bit less than forecast, and we got a really good amount down the other end as well. So almost 25 minutes extra on top of Campino. So if we did go around for any reason, obviously need to know why. But certainly got enough fuel to give it another go. And with sort of 3 runways in Rome and nice weather, I mean, we could basically commit. So if we didn't use the alternate at all, we got an old sort of 2 tons, basically an hour's worth of extra fuel to play with if we really needed to. and just to commit to Rome, which we can do because it's nice weather. So yeah, we got plenty of extra fuel, which is good. I just would choose an airport with a longer airport as an alternate. Best with more. We did sorry, Chris. Yeah, I have to say that again, mate. Sorry, I sort of lost the trail there of what you were saying. So I just would choose an airport with a longer airport. Do you mean like a longer runway as an alternate? Best with more than runway. Yeah, I can sort of see what you're getting at. You mean sort of pick an airport with multiple runways and longer runways and this, that, and the other, because it's sort of more guaranteed. And tracks, I'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, so having a multiple runways as another alternate is a good place, but then you're carrying the fuel fat alternate and you may not need it. And like with us today, Campino is perfectly good. There's a good enough runway there. It's what's the distance? Let's have a quick look. Ground charts. So what have we got? 2,700, is it? 2,200. Yeah, so it's not the longest runway, but I mean we could get in there without any problems whatsoever on that sort of distance at our sort of weights. Like I said, it's just a fuel alternate, so we'd only go there if we really can't get into Rome and we need the fuel. But we've already decided on the ground that there's lovely weather, so what are the chances of not getting into Rome today? There's 3 runways. The airport would have to be completely closed for that to happen. And if that was to happen to us as we literally in the last stages of the approach, we have got enough fuel to make a decision of whether we go to Campino to divert, or if Naples was the commercial alternate, which it is. How much extra is Naples? So Naples actually, ironically, for some reason, is less fuel. So we already know that if we had to go around because the airport closed at minimums in Rome, we've already got enough fuel for Naples as well. So in that case we'd probably go, well, that's it, we're going straight to Naples now, because if the airport's closed, that's it, we're probably not going to be hanging around for Rome. But it's such a dynamic situation. It's really difficult to sort of give an exact answer, because when something happens at what point is quite variable. But this is where the planning comes in. We've done the planning on the grounds. We haven't put any extra fuel on because we don't need to. It's a nice day. There's lots of runways down there, and for the God knows how many times I've been here, I've never really not got in. So don't carry extra fuel if you don't need it, and don't use an alternate fuel that's got multiple runways, which might require you 3 tons extra fuel to get there, if you don't necessarily need it. If the airport next door to it is perfectly usable, and it's only going to take a ton to get there, then use that, because overall that's using less fuel, which is just reducing the cost for the airline. So there's a lot of commercial sort of bias involved when you come to these sort of things, and that's why we're looking at the planning minima and the planning stage when we're looking at the fuel decisions on the ground, because we're taking all these things into consideration when we come with a fuel figure when we depart. Once we're airborne, we're not really looking at the OFP so much anymore for fuel decision, but we're using the FMGC and the fuel predictions down here. How much extra fuel we actually have on top of CNR. CNR here is about 2.4, and we've got, we should be landing with 3.3, so we're almost a ton more than what the CNR is. So we got loads of extra fuel in the tanks to deal with some contingency if something goes wrong and we have to divert somewhere. So Drax, why use flap 3? Is that what you asked? Yeah, so why do we use flap 3? So the maximum tailwinds component we can use in flap 3 is 10 knots. So if it's more than 10 knots tailwind, we've got to use flap full. Now it's going to be less than that because it's like 280, so it's going to be, what's that, sort of over 100 degrees off, isn't it? 110 degrees off, more or less. So it's only going to be a very, very mild tailwind component anyway. In fact, it should tell us if we put this in. I think it does. Yeah, so if we put apply 2808, there we go. So we got like a 4 knot tailwind. So we could still use flap 3 within the SOPs. That's not a problem. And it's such a long runway. That landing distance isn't a problem. So flap 3 is going to save us a little bit more fuel. And I actually prefer flap 3 in the sim. I think it lands just a little bit better. It seems to be a little bit more responsive. It was a little bit floaty, I think, last time I did it, but you know, it does seem to land a little bit nicer. They don't have the pitch attitude correct, that's the only thing. So a flap 3 landing, your pitch attitude should be about 5 to 6 degrees, and that's not correct at the minute. So yeah, Phoenix needs to... It used to be correct, I think, but Phoenix have done something with their update and it's not quite the same anymore. So it uses less fuel. It improves our go-around climb performance as well. Not that we need that because Rome's sea level and there's no hills around, but you know, it does improve the go-around climb performance. But you know, that's the main thing. It uses less fuel, so it's, you know, good for the airline. What specs did you buy on the upgrades? So it's only an SSD DRAC, so it wasn't, you know, when it was an upgrade, it wasn't, you know, an entire sort of upgrade to the entire thing. It was just I upgraded the original hard drive to an SSD, which is now making it a lot smoother, or running a lot better, should I say. So yeah, I think that covers it. I think we've done most of the brief, just, you know, to sort of, I suppose, Prezi, the final things. The weather's fine, we know it's fine down there, the aircraft's perfectly good, there's no NOTAMs that are really going to affect us, there's no real threats, the MSA's all pretty good. Highest MSA on the approach, not Lyra. So what we got, 16 right. So just the situational awareness, 5,900, that's off to the east. We probably aren't going to go around there, but if we said 6,000, we're definitely going to be safe. And that's based on the Ostia VOR as well, which is on the airfield. So yeah, anything off to the sort of south, you know, sort of 4,000 should be safe down here, but 6 is going to keep us definitely safe. The arrival's in. I've cut the corner because I expect that's what we would normally do. So that's all done. We've got 16 right, we've got 16 left in the secondary if we needed. No, we haven't. We've got the full arrival on 16 right. We can change that to 16 left if we need to. Radnav's India, so India Fox Romeo Romeo is the ILS, which it is. Progress, the runway's there for situation around GPS primary axis, high performance, we've done all this. That's all covered. Some minimums are in config 3, speeds are looking good. Fuel, yeah, we've got loads of extra fuel which we've seen. So that basically covers the brief. How we're going to do it, it's going to be about maybe 200 knots, flap 1 somewhere coming around here. Flap 2 as we sort of intercept the glide path, 180 knots going down the glide path, gear down at about sort of 5 or 6 miles, and then flap 3 shortly after that. Landed on the runway, which is straightforward. There is some notes somewhere, I believe, it basically says don't vacate before the intersection of runway 25. Or don't come off at runway 25, which you can't really anyway, so Alpha Golf would be our point of vacating. So come off at Alpha Golf and then go in via, I think it's Victor. Yeah, so let's get the routes. So maybe Whiskey. So sort of down Alpha, Alpha Golf, down Alpha Whiskey, and then in, and we're park on 806, 807, something like that. As long as there's not anybody in the way. So that's the plan. Final weekend from school. Yeah, well, I've got to go to work, Drax. Sorry for some that got days off. I've actually got to go to work the weekend. Somebody. Yeah, if you don't keep it in English, we won't understand you. So good, that's all nice. We're going down very, very shortly. So what's the first constraints? Probably 150 at Goppel. That's going to be the main one. And there was a waypoint down here as well. What was it called? Giglio, I think. Was it Giglio? Giglio. Yeah, that was it, I think. Yes, there we go. Giglio. So who remembers Costa Concordia? So that was basically there at Giglio. So I think Giglio is the island, which is this one or this one off the nose somewhere. Was it that? Might be that one. I can't quite remember. But it was down here, and yeah, when it obviously crashed, this was basically the waypoint that sort of identified where it was. I don't think that was deliberate. I just coincidentally that was a waypoint over the top of it. Yeah, so every time we were flying up and down here, we'd often see, you know, poor bloody Costa Concordia on its side, you know, for a number of years, because it, you know, took a number of years, didn't it, before they could sort of extricate it from its poor position. Oh, bloody spam, honestly. Right, so start looking at going down. I have to do a Unicom corner as well. Try and remember to do that. Get you on. So there we go. Managed descent. 150 blue. Let's go for a Teams call. No worries. Yeah, have fun, Barry. See you later. Good. There's somebody else coming into Rome, sort of off the left over the middle of Italy, and that's about it. Five departures, 6 arrivals, no controllers, never mind. What's the arrival? Cap 3 Alpha. Rome traffic EC37 Hotel Alpha. We are descending to flight level 150 to be on the Cap 3 Alpha arrival, and we're going to be planning the ILS 16 right. Talked about fuel a few minutes. Do you remember the 310 glider from Vienna, Andres? It sort of rings a bell. Was it the Hapag-Lloyd one? And did it try to get into Zurich and then couldn't make it and went into the one next to Zurich, or was that one where it sort of confused the other runway for Zurich? I can't quite remember. It vaguely rings a bell, but it's not. You know, I mean, there's a couple of really interesting fuel problems in aviation. Obviously, the Air Canada, you know, the Gimli glider, and then there was the Air Transat. Was it Air Transat? Wherever it was, yeah, there was the 330 over the Atlantic that did it as well. So yeah, there's a couple of quite famous ones, and probably not quite as famous ones as those. I'm trying to remember the one that was from Vienna. But yeah, fuel's quite important. You know, it's sort of, as we drum this into new commands, I think pretty fiercely. It's, you know, knowing the fuel policy is obviously pretty important, but you know, take the fuel that you need to take effectively. Yeah, I sort of, again, it rings a bell. The name rings a bell, but I can't quite remember the situation behind it. I just remember it, you know, had problems again. I can't remember if it was a conversion problem, whether they worked out the wrong fuel, if there was a leak. So yeah, my memory's a little bit hazy on that one. It was interesting, bit of cloud. It's annoying actually, because we're actually quite close to Gillian. It'd be interesting to see if the sim has actually simulated the Costa Concordia in the scenery. I don't know if it has. Just see a sort of white ship on its side. Anyway, so the weather's looking lovely, so I've got no problems with that. Don't really need you to run anymore. I can stop. Well, hopefully this landing will be more successful than the last one I did in Heathrow, which was utterly abysmal, but the only reason that was abysmal, I think, was the sim was stuttering so much. I mean, to be fair, that it was a crosswind, and actually my crosswind technique was a little bit crap, but I wasn't helped by the fact the sim wasn't really behaving. So this will have a similar crosswind. It's still going to be from the right, still what's 8 knots or so. So there's still going to be a little bit of a crosswind there, but hopefully we won't have any any streaming issues, any PC problems, any lags, any stutters that just make the aircraft effectively sort of unresponsive, because that's what really sort of killed me, I think. So hopefully it'll be okay. Alright, ILS is on. QNH is on. Let's do a last little check of the weather. What's the time? 13:02. I think my dog's alright. So So we got 2808, varying around a little bit. Cab OK, 22 degrees, 1015 now, so that's gone down. Okay. 015. 015. So yeah, it's just off the right hand side. Yeah, that was the island, I think. I'm fairly sure it was that one. I think the Costa Concordia was beached here somewhere. So no, I can't quite see it. Dog's alright. Haven't heard him or seen him. Should be fine. Right, I think the profile's still pretty good. What do we do after the waypoint? So Bibek, Gopol, and after Gopol down to 90, which is the lowest we can be at Gipap. I'm just going to make sure my dog's alright, 'cause he's gone very, very quiet. Off the air, 1 second. Good, he was fine, he was just chewing on a ram's horn, so that's fine. Keeping himself entertained, which is always what we want. Is any ATC? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. So we're on our own. Going to make a flight from Charles de Gaulle to Figari. Oh, nice. I don't think I've been to Figari. Figari's quite tough, I think. It's not an easy place to go into. Constraints, that'd be a good idea to have those on. So there's the route. So sort of Gopal, Azuru, Suvac. I mean, you know, we probably could just cut the corner. Yeah, I could do with like a mod that adds a few sort of boats. So there's one thing I think that's missing, especially when you cross like the channel or something, and you just seeing a few boats. Only a little bit of haze. Rome would be over here somewhere, probably beyond this haze. So again, we're just monitoring everything that goes on, just making sure it's all working fine. Sort of paranoid check over the overhead, nothing there. Everything's been working quite nicely. I think Things are a little bit high, more drag. It's okay, we'll sort that out. We've got loads of time. How many miles we got to the runway in a straight line? So 48 miles. So yeah, you want to be about 15,000 feet for 45. 45 divided by 3 is 15. So yeah, we're just about there. In a straight line. Obviously we're doing a couple of turns, so we've got 60 miles actual sort of track distance, so yeah, we're pretty good. There's no problems at all with the vertical profile. I hope everybody's had a good day. Weather's a bit pants today. It's still quite warm. I've noticed the last few days really warm. And I took the dog out this morning, had the jumper on, and I was absolutely baking. It didn't seem like it was going to be very warm, but it was. Chucking a ball around was quite tiring, and just, yeah, wearing a jumper wasn't really necessary. But yeah, it's not looking quite so good now. It's got a bit more cloudy. So yeah, at least it's not blowing a gale. Right, speed out star, and then the next one was I think 9,000. Yeah. So flight level 2. So thrust to idle descent 90 blue. Start strapping them in. The belts are on. I think SU11 will be one of the biggest up. When's that happening, Drax? Is that soon? Now this is other guy. I think he must be landing on 6 left. Could do a charging. Can't quite see what he's laying up for. So he's 50 miles ahead of us. There's loads of separation, won't be an issue. So it's just these speed constraints we're slowing down to. And I think. Yeah, I think once we pass sort of GIP app, approximately around there, we can descend to 5,000. Relatively happy where we are. Just go open descent, 220. Bridge phase is activated. See you later, Peter. Have a good day. So how are we doing on distance? So 43 miles, supposedly. Yeah. Okay, not too bad. Looks like this guy might be doing 16 right as well, potentially. I don't think I can see him. Can't even see the airport, to be honest. Just sort of through the haze, I think. This might be interesting. Not supposed to be hazy. That was a departure. I think that's just gone on 225. Rome traffic EZ37 Hotel Alpha is approaching Zuru and flying direct to Suvok, and then for the ILS of runway 16 right. So we've got about 30 miles straight line distance, obviously a little bit more because we're doing a sort of dog leg, but 10,000 feet, so yeah, profile again is looking pretty good. So 1,000 to go to 9,000. So now we can go to 5,000 direct to Sivok. And set the QNH. So QNH 1016 is cross-jets. The approach checklist says Barrow F QNH 1016 is set. Seatbelts are on. Minimum is Barrow 210. Water brake is low, and EFBs are stowed and disconnected. So approach checks complete. I might be doing 16 left. Alright, India Fox Romeo Romeo is identified as well. What are we? 23 miles, 8,000 feet. So yeah, pretty good. Bit of a tailwind on final, looking like it. So keep an eye on that. Good luck on my landing. Cheers, Jax. Get the landing lights on. And speed, yes. I've done that, let's go. Manage speed. So after Suvox we can go to 4,000. And then 4,000 is the platform. Hey Captain, how are you? Ooh. Oh, I should have twisted that way. Then he popped a rib. So again, quite hazy down here, just not really forecast. So you can see the terrain, so I'm happy with that. Happy where we are.
traffic, Eurowings stop Papa, short final runway 16.
That's for 1,000 to go. Let's just shallow this off a bit. Have to work before the weekend, but can't miss landing. Well, I'll be landing in a few minutes, hopefully. So yeah, hopefully you should be able to see that. So it's really interesting, the weather. It's surprised me a little bit. Try and get a CD out of it. Somebody flying overhead. So after Suvok we can go down to 4. So that's 4,000 blue. Probably clear to inset the localizer, so lock blue. Let's go flat 1, speed checks, flat 1. 180 is selected. So again, 5,000 feet should be about 15 miles away, so we're 19, so we know we're below the profile, even though this little green yo-yo's saying we're a little bit high, we're not. I mean, when you look at the distance versus the height, we're actually fine with that. So, you know, there's no rush to get down at all. Made this landing through a passage some years ago. Captain had to make a go at it. Oh, was it bad weather, or was it just, I don't know, probably separation. Rome are very busy, so you know sometimes they do vect you in a little bit close to aircraft, so you know that can always cause things. Right, so not visual at all yet, which is interesting, but we know where we are. It's yeah, Maven, which is basically the start of the approach. So 4,000 pick up the glide slope shortly, probably about 12 miles at this sort of height. And there's a glide slope there. So arm that. Glide slope blue, Cat 3 Dual AP 1 and 2. Lock star. And roam traffic EC37 Hotel Alpha is localised or established. Runway 16 right, we're at 15 miles. And the go around on this one was 3,000, I think it was. Going to 3,000, yeah, 3,000 is the go around. Right, glide slope star, let's go flap 2. Speed change flap 2. Keep 180, we're still quite far away yet. It's very rainy in Charles de Gaulle, is it? Yeah, I think that was, as we went over the top of it, it said it was quite rainy in Paris. Right, glide slope and Miss approach altitude is set. So now we're just looking out, there we go, we can see through the haze and we can see the runway there. This is the MK Studio scenery as well, so it is very good. I don't know what the default scenery is like, but I'm not too sure actually. I think Gav gave me this, I can't quite remember. Don't know, but yeah, no, this is the MK Studio scenery and it did look very good when I looked at it on the ground before I started the stream. So there we go, we just monitor now, so keep this speed, start slowing down in a minute. Temperature's obviously fine, so even though there's a bit of haze and a bit of mist, you know, there's no need for anti-ice at this sort of temperature. Right, I don't think we've forgotten anything. I'm just going to get the lights on a bit early, just so I'm not faffing around on the overhead. Let's get the gear down, so that's that done. Just because the click spots aren't that easy to get to. Right, let's go about 160 to 4. Again, the aircraft's not slowing down, you know, that much. This is perfectly normal. This is exactly what the aircraft's like in real life. Certainly with a tailwind as well. You know, you're really going to struggle. So, yeah, 10 knot tailwinds. I will monitor this. Be interesting to see what this wind's like. I'm expecting this to back round as we get closer to the ground. So I'm not expecting 10 knot tailwind by the time he lands. Right, let's go manage speed. Radio sequence is alive. Let's get the gear down. Gear's coming down. Flap 3, speed jets. Flap 3. Spoilers, there we go, so landing checklist. And we got cabin is secure for landing, go around altitude 3000 is set, and ECAM memo is landing no blues, landing checks complete. Roam traffic EC37 Hotel Alpha, runway 16 right, 4 miles to land. So that's done. Marker, got marker sounds? No, can't hear him. Right, that's looking pretty good. I think we're in the right place. Get my viewpoint correct. It's about there. Ish. I don't think my throttle was right, quite in the right place, but they would do. So, yeah, the wind's starting to back round a bit. We've still got, yeah, still almost a 10 knot tailwind. Coming round though. Right, so wind's from the right. Stable.
Above. Minimum.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
Come on, you bugger. Get down. Spoilers, first green, and decel. Little bit floaty. So there's the runway. There's 25 left, or 25 even. Manual brakes. Reversers are off. Should be... is it Hotel Golf? I can't remember. Alpha Golf. Road traffic easy, 37 Hotel Alpha is runway vacated. Trying to go off the taxiway. So it says straight ahead, first right on Alpha, Alpha Golf, and then in Whiskey, and then stand 807, whatever it is. Not worried about cleaning up yet, I'll do that in a second. Yeah, Whiskey 807. Road traffic easy, 37 Hotel Alpha is taxiing to stand 827 via Whiskey, and yeah, Whiskey. Alright, that's done. That's done. That can come off. Strobes. Yep. Come on, you bastard. That. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, get you going. You can come off. You can come off. You can come off. You can come off. Come up. Come off. Yeah, well, I think that seemed alright. Yeah, a bit floaty, but it seemed to work. Didn't have much lag either, which was good. So yeah, sim was obviously nice and smooth. It's good, doesn't it? Like there's any aircraft down there. That's fine. Was that a good landing? I don't know what the landing rate was. Did the landing rate come up? I think it should have done. The banner's up, isn't it? Yeah, it should be. Hopefully it came up. Yeah, it felt okay. This is why I prefer flap 3 a little bit. It just feels a little bit more responsive in the pitch. In landing. But yeah, I don't think the pitch attitude is quite correct. Come off. It's funny, I came in here once and we were about to cross here and a baggage trolley dropped a bag literally right on the centre line. And we just had to stop. And there was just trolleys going back and forth and yeah, one of the trolleys literally dropped a bag on that road. And yeah, we just had to wait there, and eventually after about 2 or 3 minutes I think somebody came over and sort of picked it up. But like, we can't go anywhere because there's a bag in the way, and it was literally right on the centre line, right on the yellow line. Right, anyway, that's good. APU is on. Brake pressure's good. 3 minutes. Oh, why haven't you started, you bugger? I thought I started you. I think you've had 3 minutes. I'm sure we've had 3 minutes. So maximum span 36 metres, that's what the 320 is. We're below that, so we're good. We know we can do it. No landing rate. The overlay isn't working. Ah, why didn't somebody say? I would have done something. Bollocks. Oh, I didn't realise that. I wasn't looking at it. I mean, it should have done. Because I did try and set this up the other day, so the overlay should have worked. Right, we're clear on the left. Well, I don't think it was that bad. It wasn't a bad landing. Didn't really bounce. Right, there's no real lines. There's no guidance on this one, unfortunately. Let's go outside probably and just guess. Somewhere in that yellow blob, I guess, somewhere around here. There are markings, I'm sure there are markings in real life. Somewhere in line with the gate, that would do, that would do. Right, done. Parking brakes on, and yeah, still got the pressure, fine. Right, I think we've had the 3 minutes. It's been about 2 minutes, yes, that's good. AP's there, so 1 and 2's off. That's off. Doors, these get disarmed with a beacon. So below 10% on the N1, beacon come off. So, oh, she blown a slide. They've opened a door with a slide arm. That's not going to be good. That would have been healthy. Good. So they've disarmed. That's fine. I'm trying to remember my. Gosh, too many scans. There's too many people doing. What? That can go back. That can go back. That can go 2000. Let's try to remember what the FOs do. That. Yeah, they're fine. That can stop. 2 hours 12 block time, that's pretty good. Turn these off. Not that one, that one. That's on for a minute. And the fuel pumps can come off. Good. And we can get people go. Yeah, deboard. Thank you very much. And there we go, guys. There's Rome. So, nice easy day, lovely weather. No sim problems, no PC problems. Everything's looking pretty good. Don't trust the landing rate display anyway. They're way off. Yes, I mean the ones that have been on my streams and I've watched back, they've actually looked pretty good. You know, where I've had a couple of hard landings and I've gone, oh, that was a bit crap. You know, I didn't flare, whatever. You know, there's sort of the landing rate has sort of been what I expect it to be with that particular sort of landing. So yeah, I don't think it's that bad actually, Christian. I think it's reasonably accurate, but I don't know. It's, you know, some probably a bit more cynical over it than others. But yeah, there we go. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope it was good. I hope my language wasn't quite as bad as what it normally is, but there we go. It sort of proves when things work, I'm generally actually fine, and you know, I can cope with things very well. So yeah, that's it. I've got to go to work very, very shortly in the next hour or two. And I'm back to work for a few days. I've only back for a couple of days, I think, and then I'm back. I've got 5 days off next week, fortunately. One of those days, I'm going to have to see my dad because I've not really seen him for a while. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go over there at some point. But I think the missus is doing something, so that'd be a good day to do that. But I should have about a good sort of 3 to 4 days next week's free, where I might be able to do some streaming. So I might do like another Dark Star flight. I might do something different. I might still play around with this. You know, now that the sim or the PC seems to be a bit more stable, I think I've got a bit more confidence in doing things. You know, certain weathers, if it's not particularly great, just anything really. I think I've just got a bit more confidence that it should be fine. So yeah, I think we should be good. So hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend, and yeah, I shall see you later on. Cheerio.